It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
We sure do, Norman. Welcome, you beautiful classic film lovers, to yet another episode of the Top 10 Favorite and from what I believe are the best performances by some of the greatest actors in all of cinema.
You know, this is the men's locker room.
Yes, I know that, Anthony. We're starting from 10 and then slashing and dashing and serenading all the way up to number 1.
I forgot to bring any cutlery.
That's okay. We'll live this time. But always remember, folks, I have seen every film attainable, keyword attainable, by every artist here. So every list here comes from truthful, exciting, transparent, and horrific accuracy.
You didn't think I was dead, did you?
We absolutely did, sir. And it's been long overdue, but the time has come to talk about one of the most underrated actors, one of the most beautiful inside and out, and yet troubled artists in all of theater, television, and film. The hauntingly brilliant Anthony Perkins. Often referred to as Tony, he was born in Depression-era Manhattan in 1932, though things were going decently, having a successful actor as a father, Osgood Perkins, who was mostly a theater actor but made great strides in film, like Howard Hawks' Scarface. Unfortunately, Osgood passed away after doing a production of Susan and God when Tony was only 5 years old. Tony felt horribly guilty, for he said he often wished his father would pass away, so that he could have more time with his mother, whom he loved dearly, even though she was quite abusive to him, both emotionally and sexually. On top of being forced to take on sports once they moved to Boston, which wasn't comfortable for Tony, hurting his scarlet fever as a child, he would do anything he can to express himself artistically. He joined the Brattleboro Theater in Vermont, a popular summer stock theater where he earned his equity card and continued to rise in his academics, going to the Buckingham, Browns, and Nichols School, an all-boys school in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Famously, yes, Anthony Perkins would be known as a closeted homosexual his whole life, but his questioning and exploration of his sexuality really wouldn't come until he went to Rollins College in Florida, where he experimented and committed to his utmost desires more openly. However, the Lavender Scare was on the rise, where gay men were targeted and punished horribly. Anthony was able to get away without any repercussions because of his relationship with his theater professor. He took a journey trip to LA to see if he could get into film, waiting and hanging around the studios to get seen, just like all the rest of them, making his way into a screen test for Margaret O'Brien. The director asked him to move, which Tony caused more of a notice of himself on camera. He thought his opportunity in film was dead in the water, now after that display of wasting time and delaying things of the screen test. But that director was George Cukor, who always saw greatness in new actors and cast Anthony in The Actress with Spencer Tracy and Gene Simmons. After a lovely debut, he then gained more notoriety in replacing John Kerr on Broadway in Teen Sympathy, playing Tom Lee, a young man suffering from identifying himself as butch or simply homosexual. Yes, indeed, doing a show that hit straight home for Tony. And Perkins received glowing reviews for his performance. It was clear at this point of the mid-1950s that both Broadway and Hollywood found another potential teen idol, but a teen idol that gave depth and humanity to every performance. Such was the time of the sensitive young man era in film and theater, where Hollywood couldn't get enough of the James Deans, the Montgomery Clifts, whom Tony was often compared to. And yes, it might have pigeonholed Tony as an actor, surely, but Tony at least had such brilliance and cunningness about him that when he hit a pothole along his career, he would rebound and yet take another road. The positive thing should always be said that whether Tony took the road of awful pictures, and yes, throughout his 35-plus year career in film, he certainly had some stinkers. But at the end of the day, Tony always gave his best. He gave his sincerest work, for he loved the craft. I sincerely love Anthony Perkins, folks. He's always been one of those actors that I connected to, mainly because of his sensitive qualities. He was another everyman. Before we get to the meat of the top 10, folks, it's important to know how awe-inspiring Tony's work in theater was, having originated such roles of Eugene in Look Homeward Angel, which earned him a Tony nomination for Best Actor, Andy in Neil Simon's The Star-Spangled Girl, and famously Gideon Briggs in Green Willow, which he received his final Tony nomination for Best Actor. Not to mention hopping into the Broadway run of Equus as Dr. Dysart. People have often forgotten how much of a tremendous singer Perkins really was. Sure, not utterly show-stoppingly amazing, but Tony would cut 3 pop albums with some best-selling singles.
Let's go on a moonlight swim, far away from the crowd, all alone upon the beach.
And when you watch him, even in the made-for-television musical presentation of Stephen Sondheim's Evening Primrose.
Goodbye to spoilers of beauty, ruin another career. When you wake up with one genius less, if you can find me on...
Or better yet, Never Will I Marry from Green Willow, that was released as its own hit single and covered by many artists alike.
Born to wander till I'm dead.
You see the beauty of what more he could have done in musical theater. He was an actor perfectly suited to work in Sondheim's musicals, for Sondheim said himself he always favored actor-singers, real actors that can bring out the power of the character in song, rather than singer actors. Reportedly, Sondheim would always think of Tony Perkins for any particular role in all of his musicals.
We shall have the world forever.
The two would only work again not as songwriter and actor, but screenwriter and screenwriter, in the classically campy whodunit The Last of Sheila, which is a hell of a good time, and even cited as an inspiration for Rian Johnson's Knives Out series. Tony Perkins, a lifelong actor studio member, came into Hollywood at the right time of work, but also at the right time of challenge. Obviously, which can only build the artist within.
I've heard it before. We've all heard it. The man is dying of old age, still waiting there.
No, we can't wait any longer. So, folks, here are the top 10 best performances by the masterfully underrated, brilliant musical star of the craft itself, Anthony Perkins. Now, starting us off at number 10, Goodbye Again.
You have friends there, and your life is there.
Sure. No, you're right. I'll meet the right girl, get married, live happily ever after.
Yes, of all the films at this point of Perkins' career where he plays the young lover to the international cougar, as it were, this is surely his most sensational and vulnerable, lusting with freedom on screen. As Philip Vanderbash, a young son of a wealthy client of Paula, played by Ingrid Bergman, and while Philip grows such attraction for Paula, the May-December affair could cause some problems.
Philip! Oh, Philip, try to understand. I am old.
You're not that old. Classic soap opera material based on the novel, which Anthony inspired the new title, and it's a team that fits elegantly well between Ingrid and Anthony. Anthony indeed was having a ball on location in Paris, luxuriating in French culture, that his performance was even more honest and giving. So giving and charming that he won the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival for his endearing yet tortured heartthrob of Philip. Number 9, The Tin Star.
Well, I guess I got a lot to learn.
You won't have time to learn.
I would if you'd show me.
Take off that badge and quit.
I can't do that.
I'll be gone in a few days.
Well, a few days might mean the difference. It might.
Yes, there's nothing better than our dear Anthony Perkins sharing a picture with the GOAT himself, Henry Fonda. You talk about a perfect pairing that is the absolute iconic icing on this Western cake, directed by one of the best of the genre, Anthony Mann. Anthony Perkins once again gives the role such honesty, a lived-in performance that speaks to all of us. A young man who wants nothing more than to succeed in leading his hometown to justice, where older drifter Morgan Hickman, Fonda, could help and fulfill such a destiny. This time of the 50s for Perkins was indeed a great and consistent time for Westerns, and you could see him getting stronger and stronger in every film, and to see Perkins stand off against the terrifying Neville Brand is truly thrilling.
Well, come on, Bogartis, you was a whole posse today. Didn't get no prisoners, though. Aren't you man enough to come on and get him now? Come on, what's keeping you?
Put down that gun, I'll tear you apart.
You fight with your mouth and with your hat. Don't reach no further. This thing might go off, both barrels.
Number 8, WUSA.
What are you trying to prove? Prove? Not to prove anything. Just trying to stay alive. And human.
Now, for all the Anthony Perkins enthusiasts, yes, it pains me so much as well to place his performance here so low. It should be much higher. Playing the quiet yet deeply committed welfare applicant inspector, Morgan Rainey, who suspects the rich and mysterious Clotho, played by Moses Gunn, is setting him up and other people for a torched doomsday in their lives, which will be used heavily by a conservative radio station called WUSA. Yes, that's just scratching the surface of this mildly cynical yet timely and prophetic piece based on the novel A Hall of Mirrors. And Perkins gives Morgan such earnestness that you are shocked with his ultimate action in the end, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it. And yet, you completely understand the cynical nature of it all. And his performance showcases that substantial weight of a man so beaten by the system that he wants to see a better tomorrow, just like all of us. He humanizes this guy, where we can see there is something rough around the edges. There is something deeply troubling him. And that's what Anthony always excelled at, playing such deeply tortured and troubled characters.
It doesn't matter what I am. But human life is a gift. The muck of the earth was raised up to consciousness. Blood was made warm.
For his performance, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor with the National Society of Film Critics Awards, and one would assume at the time of its release of 1970, it was going to spark a major comeback for him in other major motion pictures. But alas, independent features loved him more. Number 7, Pretty Poison.
What a week. I met you on Monday, fell in love with you on Tuesday. Wednesday, I was unfaithful. Thursday, we killed a guy together. How about that for a crazy week, Superman?
For cinephiles, it is certainly a significant film for Anthony. For at the time of its release of 1968, Anthony's career was growing quite soft. Independent film was the great avenue for him to stretch as an actor. Now, you probably wouldn't recognize it with this film, playing Dennis Pitt, a deeply disturbed man. Yes, on parole from the mental institution, he falls in love with a young woman named Sue-Ann, played just stunningly by Tuesday Weld. Once things turn disastrous from the lethal influence of Sue-Ann, Dennis must rack his brain on how to resolve this situation before it's too late. Again, based on the novel She Let Him Continue, Anthony Perkins was just perfect to play this role, even though the brand new director Noel Black was against casting him at first, thinking it would be too obvious. Once Black saw Perkins on Broadway in The Star-Spangled Girl, he was convinced and realized Perkins was much more than the big typecast of horror. Shocking. What is most important is that without Anthony Perkins in this film, it would be nothing more than a schlock film, lost in the abyss of 35mm. Reports have said his co-star Tuesday was utterly miserable working with the director, disrespected, and not receiving any help as an actor, until Tony stepped in and stood as a shoulder for her to cry and lean on. Being the utmost professional, he certainly brought the morale up the best he could and gave a performance that still cuts deeply. Number 6, Catch-22.
I'm desperate. But it's not my business.
I'm desperate!
I'll see what I can do. I really will. I'm going to do my best.
Now, I know this might be so surprising, having Tony's hysterical and towering performance, both literally and figuratively, as Chaplain A.T. Tatman so high, but folks, when you revisit this controversial, maniacally horrific satire adapted from Joseph Heller's brilliantly psychotic novel, you'll see all the perfect ingredients that Perkins adds to the film's soup. which retrospectively earns much deserved praise than when it first opened in 1970. With a film that had so many issues with getting the rights, with casting, with filming, you still find the positives out of all of its big-time all-star cast, including its unlikely star, Alan Arkin. The craziness never stops, and everyone needed to know how damn great Anthony Perkins was with comedy. My lord, was he fantastic with slapstick comedy. His simplistic and honest demeanor gave way for more subtle, dry comedy, which he excelled at beautifully, and his brilliance hits in every single scene, where he could give a stone face that would knock you out. Add his delivery, and you're in heaven.
Is something wrong?
No. I just thought I saw something.
Naked man in a tree?
Yes, that's it.
That's just your Sarian.
Oh.
Nothing greater than having the genius Mike Nichols direct you, a man of theater as well. So Tony was in great company, and quite frankly, steals the picture for me. His nomination for Best Supporting Actor in WUSA at the National Society of Film Critics was shared with his performance here. And if you ask me, it was definitely more so for its chaplain here, I'd say. Always giving grace with a bright air of farce and yet levity. Number 5, Fear Strikes Out.
Now look, Doc, let me tell you something. Let me get you something straight. I love my dad. He's the biggest thing in my life. He taught me and he straightened me out and he kept me in line. If it hadn't been for him standing behind me and pushing me and driving me, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yes, my goodness. Tony Perkins' big-time starring role, coming off strong from his great supporting roles on film, this gave Tony the great opportunity to lead a picture with such depth. Playing a young, tortured soul of a son, Jimmy Pearsall, rigorously trained to become one of the greatest baseball players of all time, according to his controlling father, played by a great Carl Malden. Once he makes it into the big time with the Red Sox, the pressure just builds and builds, and after a dreadful breakdown, Jimmy is diagnosed with bipolar disorder and must overcome his demons that have been built upon by his domineering father. Based on the true story of real-life ballplayer himself, Jimmy Pearsall, written in his book of the same name, even though, famously, it veers so far off from the actual truth, Anthony Perkins gives everything of himself in the role, which certainly is a tall order considering how much different the script is compared to Pearsall's actual challenges. You can tell the producers wanted to keep the method actor wave alive, with themes of a troubled father and son, just like James Dean in East of Eden, but quite honestly, having read about Pearsall, Anthony Perkins is quite the interesting choice to play Jimmy. Also interesting is how Tab Hunter, you all remember good old Tab Hunter, he played the same role in the television presentation on Climax, ! Just 2 years previously. And he does fairly well, I can say. Wouldn't you agree?
It's a way of ruining me. It's a way of getting rid of me.
Oh, don't talk like a dumb kid.
Are you yelling at me again? Can't you see it's a brush off? They're trying me out of a position they know I can't play, and just as soon as I make a few errors, they're going to drop me. Can't you see it? What can't you?
Many have known that Tab Hunter and Anthony Perkins were lovers for a good amount of years in the 1950s. As Tab Hunter tells it, he told Anthony about wanting to do a theatrical film version of Fear Strikes Out, which Anthony took it upon himself and threw that idea to the studio, which they signed Anthony on instead of Tab. It might have been a betrayal. It might have been Anthony just looking out for himself, looking out for his own career and his own likeness. And yes, that can taint our idea of Anthony Perkins. In any case, Anthony Perkins still excels wonderfully on screen as Jimmy. And it is quite funny watching Anthony with co-star Norma Moore, let alone playing a straight man.
Mary, you don't understand. The competition is terrific.
Being the consummate actor, Anthony still fillets himself utterly open, doing everything he can to portray a baseball player, even though, according to Malden, couldn't throw a ball or swing a bat at all. He switched to being a right-handed pitcher rather than left-handed, since Jimmy was right-handed. And when he came to that powerful breakdown moment on the field, which Anthony had no rehearsal on, courtesy of director Robert Mulligan, it is a clear example on how Anthony was able to be so dearly vulnerable in a very, very challenging scene. Anthony received some of the best reviews for his performance, and for most, it remains one of their favorite performances from the great, complicated actor.
All my life, I've been splitting my gut to please you, and I never could. No matter what I do, it's not enough.
Well, I'm trying to help you, Jim.
No, you're not! You don't care about me. You never gave a damn. Win, Jimmy, win. That's all you ever cared about. And you're killing me. You've been killing me for years. Yes, you haven't. It's too much. I can't give you any more. I got nothing left to give.
Number 4, The Trial. Noted by many film critics, scholars, and filmmakers as one of the most sincere masterpieces, adapted and directed by none other than Orson Welles. Anthony Perkins gives a smoking, hot, fiery performance as Joseph K., a high-ranking office worker accused of a crime. That crime indeed is unknown to all of us, but he has to be put on trial not only by the court system, but by his whole world. Slight spoilers ahead, folks, but Anthony Perkins, having to combat in different direction by Orson in playing Joseph, gives it his absolute all. No question. His guts are strong with this one, which obviously plays out like an abstract absurdist expressionist play, very Orson Welles. And while Perkins agreed on Welles' genius, he had a very strong objection in how Welles viewed Joseph K. guilty as hell with his crime, where Perkins, and I myself, felt Joseph K. ought to be purely innocent, which heightens the nightmarish stakes. And honestly, both interpretations are correct for Kafka's brutally therapeutic nightmare, and Perkins did feel he could have done it better. But quite frankly, recognizing the power of Perkins within a play setting and realizing how much a lividly bad dream this is filmed, Anthony carries it forward from one scene to the next, subduing himself when necessary, making room for the other wild-eyed cards that accuses him, to then losing his mind over the hysteria of it all. This is certainly a film that requires multiple viewings, like any cinephile really should. You see how valuable, understandable, and yet relatable Anthony's performance is, in what I will say is a masterwork. Number 3, Crimes of Passion.
You child, victim of the night. I'm the Reverend Peter Shane, and I know the plague that cripples you. I've been sent by the Lord to save you.
Oh yes, how deliciously and seductively demented. Yes, folks, I would personally rate Tony Perkins' devilishly holy performance as Reverend Peter Shane even higher here. Why? Well, when you've lived the typecast role of psychos, no pun intended, more than many times in your career, you're bound to fall into the mundane, phoned-in performance. But not here, friends. Oh no. With the combined directorial powers of Ken Russell, oh yes, you know, Tony was given all the freedom to explore a sex-crazed reverend who frequents peep shows and vows to God to save the ladies of the night. But one in particular, China Blue, played just wonderfully by Kathleen Turner. The film itself, if you've seen it, is far from perfect. I mean, if you know Ken Russell, the man has been fighting the ratings board forever, initially receiving an X rating for this erotic frenzy. The chemistry between Kathleen and Tony in this picture is the real juice, the real penetration, as it were, to our psyches, that Tony took ever so seriously, even being actually ordained a minister for the role, with that ridiculous vibrator nightstick. My God. Once again, being a Ken Russell film, as an actor, you have no choice but to go over the top, which creates a whole new level of camp that Tony was always so brilliant at perfecting, even adding his own piano playing and sensational singing. Tony's sick and dementedly powerful performance was held by Tony himself as one of his favorites, for it gave a new life to a character who earnestly thought he was serving the word of God, though it takes sexually charged actions to achieve glory everlasting.
I shall bestow upon you the supreme humanitarian blessing and give you your freedom. You do want that, don't you?
Number 2, Friendly Persuasion.
Thou shalt not kill.
Mother, I hate fighting. I don't want to die. I don't know if I could kill anyone if I tried. But I have to try, so long as other people have to.
After many a rewatch, my friends, I couldn't hide the fact that Anthony Perkins' only Academy Award nominated performance for Best Supporting Actor here as Joshua Birdwell, the elder son of a Quaker family, is absolutely, quietly astonishing. In a film that tries so hard to mix both messages of being anti-war and yet blatantly more pro-war, Anthony Perkins outshines an already star-studded cast, with Gary Cooper and Dorothy McGuire playing his respective mom and pa, urging him to fulfill his pacifist upbringing and not join the Civil War, for in the Quaker religion, violence is clearly opposed.
No man is my enemy. Well, any man who kills innocent people is my enemy. My mortal enemy.
The film is certainly of its time, especially with its twang on biblical language.
Look, thee can go towards Vernon and see for thyself.
But this was Anthony Perkins' big break. This was a role that would catapult him back from the Broadway stage to the limelight of the next upcoming youthful leading man. When the studios would see the dailies, they even started marketing him as the most exciting star discovery since James Dean. Needless to say, the pressure was brought on dear Anthony with that magnitude. But when you just clearly watch a young, primal Anthony in the throes of a young man, caught in turmoil of his familial obligations, wanting to really live with his instinctual beliefs of protecting his own and serving his country at a time that was needed, it poses a lot of conversations and debates which are wonderful, and Anthony is that mirror for us within that battle on screen that we want to face in every frame.
Yeah, Josh? I wonder what it feels like to die.
It was certainly a tough time working with the giant Gary Cooper. Cooper already disliking the whole production. That Cooper grew even more agitated when Anthony broke up with Gary's daughter, after Gary was the one who set them up together. Obviously, we can assume Gary's daughter figured out Tony was gay and would be pointless, but it only gained more animosity on set between Cooper and Perkins, even though Perkins really looked up to Gary Cooper as like a father figure. Despite all of this conflict, he gained wide recognition that turned him into one of the great new actors of Hollywood, using his vocal butter for the title song even.
In friendly persuasion.
And turning a beautiful performance that retains how honesty and vulnerability wins audiences' hearts and souls forever.
Promise to pray.
I prayed.
And now, you classic film lovers, here are some honorable mentions before we get to number 1. Play As It Lays. Anthony pairs with the amazing Tuesday Weld once more in another masterful collaboration, beautifully paired as friends working in Hollywood, but both becoming dazed and distracted by its counterculture, fighting their own demons along the 405.
Did I catch you in the middle of an overdose, Mariah, or what?
Murder on the Orient Express. Precisely, once again, Tony, not a minor player at all, in a league of extraordinary, suspicious gentlemen and gentle ladies, and quite frankly, the second best adaptation of an Agatha Christie novel, the first being Witness for the Prosecution, naturally. Director genius Sidney Lumet was quite brilliant in hiring Tony in this ensemble, considering his whole career was built on playing murderous characters, right? And Tony, of course, naturally brings out the sincerity of a man who believes in his work and plays the game with such honest finesse. The Ravishing Idiot, which by no means is a great film. I hate to say that, but Tony Perkins' charm in the film is so contagious and hysterical, giving us another brand of slapstick as a romantic lead with Brigitte Bardot. Oh, and did I mention that this is a strictly French film?
Bonjour, belle blonde. Bonjour, belle blonde.
Je ne t'aurais jamais fait ça.
It's a fun time to experience, even though he didn't really get along with Bardot. I mean, come on, who would? Remember My Name. The groundedness and authentic reality in Tony's performance here is everything, with a great cast including and starring the extraordinary daughter of Charlie Chaplin, Geraldine. It's so wild seeing Tony and his wife buried together as husband and wife with a former lover wanting to break the marriage apart, giving the idea that Tony's character is hiding some true feelings deep within. Phaedra, or often pronounced Phaedra. Oh yes, Perkins' venture into overseas drama never ends. It has enough panache to grab you, let alone grab Perkins to take on this Greek tragedy. Lending his luscious vocals again for a few songs, not to mention one hell of an over-the-top finale of his character. Spoiler, in the car. And that's enough. You'll have to see the film in order to see what really happens, and especially to see Perkins come together with Grease, the foundation of such challenging philosophy and masterful theater. Perkins makes it work.
Grease, I had a father that killed them Tweed Fedra!
Number 1, surprise, surprise, Psycho.
Well, if you want anything, just tap on the wall. I'll be in the office.
Thank you, Mr. Bates.
Norman Bates.
You all didn't see this coming, did you? Yes, my horror and psycho-fanatic friends. We all know it to be true, and it may seem so easy to rate Tony Perkins' unbelievably brilliant and iconic portrayal as Norman Bates as his best performance, but if you remember correctly, Anthony Perkins completely embodies Norman Bates. Once master director Alfred Hitchcock gave the ball to Anthony Perkins to play Norman, it forever changed the way audiences would see the psychopathic killer portrayed on screen.
Do you go out with friends?
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but my God, where have you been? Respectfully. Yes, homicidal maniacs were pretty much on the surface disoriented, rough around the edges before this film. But when we see a boy next door, good-looking, attractive, sensitive, humble young man that has a nervous energy, but is still quite charming, we are completely blown away by the time we discover how corrupted and bruised he is. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant casting choice all around for Tony in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, where he's top billed and doesn't appear until 27 minutes into the film. And from there, God, are we hooked. That brilliant scene between he and Janet Leigh, where she's eating the sandwich he prepared, and they have that deep conversation leading to his mother, slows your breath and runs your blood cold.
You mean an institution? A madhouse? Have you ever seen the inside of one of those places? The laughing and the tears, and the cruel eyes studying you. My mother there?
The way Anthony plays that scene, both of them, is astounding, and some of the best acting you see at this time of 1960. When you recognize the subliminal touches in Anthony's performance, such as Norman being left-handed and technically Mother being right-handed when he wields the knife, creating confusion and individuality, to Anthony's own idea of incorporating the candy corn, the terrifying way Anthony swings his head to the check-in list, to then the exchange he has with Martin Balsam about Marion Crane.
Well, how early?
Oh, very early.
Mm-hmm. Which morning was that?
The next morning, Sunday.
I see. Mm-hmm.
That stutter returning back to Anthony, which hits home for him as well, having a slight stutter growing up, which many people say echoes the likes of Jimmy Stewart, another Hitchcock veteran. Everything about his performance is a grade A characterization of a young, lonely man who is deeply sick in his mind, something that has been speculated and reported that Anthony tapped into his own psyche about. Being a closeted homosexual for a long time, having a really hard relationship with his own mother, who was also reportedly a lesbian. Keeping secrets in your life in order to carry on can create such pathos for an actor, no?
People always mean well. They cluck their thick tongues and shake their heads and suggest oh so very delicately.
Despite all of Perkins' breathtaking and masterful work on Alfred Hitchcock's masterpiece, yes, Perkins would be typecast as the serial killer who just lives next door, and it would follow him all the way to the sequels, which I admit, Psycho 2, my friends, is not that bad of a film, nor is Psycho 3, which Perkins directed himself. And yes, Psycho 3 really goes for the ridiculous camp in places, Jesus. And Psycho 4 really became unnecessary, though great performances still achieve out of it. And Anthony Perkins always gave 110% in every single one of them. There was a tremendous arc for Norman that Anthony really knew how to play, always giving him pathos and charm, which always made us feel for Norman. No one will ever forget that last shot of Hitchcock's Psycho in the very end, where Mother has taken over Norman, and Mother is reflecting on what happened, and it's truly, truly chilling and inspirational as an actor myself watching Perkins deliver this inner monologue as Mother in silence, playing every beat, every shift in thought, leaving the audience in utter shock and amazement, creating one of the greatest characters in all of cinema.
They're probably watching me. Well, let them. Let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Perkins had said playing Norman was surely a blessing and a curse because of how Hollywood would typecast him. But that's Hollywood's fault, not Tony's. He would often parody the character everywhere he went, even on SNL, where he hosted in the mid-70s.
Okay. Who the hell stole my good luck panties? I can't do this show without the panties.
To then some commercials.
Oatmeal Crisp, Oatmeal Raisin Crisp.
Look, Mother, I'm eating my oatmeal.
Now, that's a good boy.
But one thing is for sure, he always had a great sense of humor about it, because he figured how great to be remembered for something rather than not be remembered at all. Because he was such a brilliant actor, he would be remembered regardless. Not because of the painful controversy of being gay in Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, rather closeted, where famously he and dancer Grover Dale and of course teen idol Tab Hunter were lovers, and it caused such heated gossip that would blacklist them. You just realized he just wanted to do whatever it took to be successful, risking whatever he could to have a successful run as an actor. And that meant his sexuality. I believe that. Seeking conversion therapy with Mildred Newman, a controversial psychologist, focusing on converting homosexuals to being heterosexuals, which Tony chose to buy into. I mean, does that mean Anthony did not love his female wife, Barry Berenson, when they married in 1973? Well, of course not. They remained married until Tony's unfortunate death in 1992, contracting HIV from a blood transfusion for his palsy that he developed when he was older, not the rumored sexual activity that the ignorant public always wanted to spread and taint. God bless Barry Berenson because she was aware of it. She wasn't ignorant or dumb, but she still loved and supported him no matter what. It would be so heartbreaking that Barry would tragically die 9 years later from the fateful flight of American Airlines Flight 11 on September 11th, 2001. The Perkins family would be such a devastating tragedy, especially for their children Elvis and Osgood, but not a tragedy they wouldn't move forward from and not achieve. Osgood Perkins being one of the most popular writer and directors in film today, with his films Longlegs, The Monkey, and Keeper. And it's amazing how you can see the same flair Anthony Perkins had with his 2 films he directed in Osgood. We can sit here all day and lament about the tragedy of Anthony Perkins that has been hammered over and over everywhere you go, especially on Ryan Murphy's god-awful monster series about Ed Gein. No disrespect to the actor Joey Polari portraying Tony Perkins, but my God, how insensitively incorrect and schlocky can you get the man? Through all the controversy and challenge, Anthony Perkins still made his way, creating characters and performances that really do stand the test of time, committing to any cause he would about civil rights, about gay rights as well, and the feminist movement. He really knew what it took to touch our souls in cinema, theater, and in real life. Something he had to say on stage or in front of the camera that touched us all.
I don't mean to be nosy, but there's something I wanted to ask you about.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, my friends, if you enjoyed this, please click like, subscribe, and if you don't mind sharing with all your friends, be sure to follow us on Patreon as well as on Spotify, for you get an uncut version of more clips, etc. of each video, the director's cut, if you will. Thank you all so very much for watching and supporting this. You mean the world to me. And yes, make sure you tell your loved ones and even your mother how much you love her.